very warm welcome to this international conference on literature, society, and global media. And I'm extremely privileged to have the honor of being the moderator of this session. And I can see our esteemed guests have already joined us. So our first keynote speaker will be Dr. Uvika Stova. My pronunciation is correct, madam?
Yes, everything okay. Good morning. Do you see me? Do you hear me?
Good morning.
Okay.
A very warm welcome to the conference. And I welcome all the participants as well. And we will be very lucky to start with you. And before you can take up your role, I would like to introduce you. So with your permission, I'm introducing you, Dr. Uvika Stova, is it?
Yulia,
yes.
Yulia
Strilkova, okay.
Yes, it's okay.
I welcome you heartily to this conference. You are presently working as Associate Professor at the Department of Journalism, Interregional Academy of Personal Management, Kyiv, Ukraine.
Yes.
So we are extremely fortunate to have you here. And once again, hearty welcome to you. Dr. Strilkova has specialized in religious sciences and have 11 years of research experience in this domain. She has also written a monograph entitled Dialectic Theology in the Spiritual Culture of the 20th Century, Philosophical and Religious Aspect. She has to her credit various international and national publications in the form of articles. She also has contributed to 14 national and 2 international conference proceedings. She is a strong proponent of inclusive education at the level of the universities and was part of an international project on the topic Support for Educational Inclusion and Parenthood in Ukraine. Dr. Strilkova teaches philosophy, history of religions, and history of foreign journalism. So that's a very small brief about you. Dr. Yulia Strilkova, welcome. So I hand over the charge of the session to you.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be on such unique international online conference. This is a really great honor for me. And as again, I have only 4 or 5 minutes, so I would like to say some words about electronic and print media. You and I will live in a rapidly developing and modernizing era when technologies is taking over in all areas of our lives. Computer, telephones, internet, and whether we like it or not, but this is already a fact. These technologies can have many advantages, of course, and disadvantages. Each development is associated with rapid modernization, improving all methods of administration and using new technologies to make things even better. However, with the growth of modernization, the human need for knowledge also increases. The media play, I think, an important role in informing people about events and innovations around all the world. This information can come to us in 2 ways. First of all, through the print media, which is the most ancient way, and of course, through electronic media. Electronic media are becoming more and more popular these days. People used to depend on newspapers when there was no other source of news and information. Sometimes they learn about the events quite late. The main limitation of the print media was that only townspeople and well-educated people could read newspapers. Electronic media began to provide the reader with better news and information on the air. Those who are unable to read the news can watch and listen to news programs on television or radio. This open access to information for people with disabilities. And I think it's a very important thing. Today, electronic media has spread everywhere, both in urban and rural areas. Electronic media have become so effective that we watch live TV broadcasts. The main advantage of electronic media is that they provide a live picture right from the scene and without much delay. We can say that these days, the electronic media is trying to dominate the print media. Today, this is fierce competition between newspapers and electronic media. But in any case, each of us has a choice, and this is the main thing. Indeed, thanks to the internet, today this conference is held online, and a lot of famous scientists from different parts of the world can discuss here very important issues and share them researches and knowledges. This is a great opportunity for each of us, and I hope you agree with me. I would like to wish all the participants of today's conference good luck, new creative achievements, and of course, a good health. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.
So, thanks a lot, Dr. Strilkova. In fact, what you highlighted is extremely eye-opening. It's an eye-opener. And although we do not realize it so much, but, you know, hearing you and understanding that how electronic media is becoming so powerful, because even those who cannot read, those who cannot write, through the visuals, they can understand. By listening, they can understand the news all over the globe. And as you rightly pointed out, all these conferences, you know, online conferences is possible because of this artificial intelligence. And this artificial intelligence is our feature, and the conference is a product of that only. And I hope everybody has agreed to what you said. Thanks a lot. So our next keynote speaker will be speaking in Hindi. So I think the organizer would ask him, because I'm not so strong in Hindi.
सिंह जी, डॉक्टर राम विनय सिंह जी डीएवी पीजी कॉलेज देहरादून उत्तराखंड के संस्कृत विभाग में एसोसिएट प्रोफेसर के रूप में कार्यरत हैं। डॉक्टर राम विनय सिंह जी संस्कृत से एमए एवं काशी हिंदी विश्वविद्यालय वाराणसी से संस्कृत में पीएचडी की उपाधि से विभूषित हैं। आपकी अनेक मौलिक कृतियां शाश्वती, मुक्ताशती, शेवधि, वैचारिकी, स्वरंभरा, हिमालय से उद्घोष, राष्ट्र, राष्ट्रीयता एवं राष्ट्रवाद, मूल्यांकन एवं पुनर्मूल्यांकन आदि प्रकाशित हो चुकी हैं। कुछ अप्रकाशित मौलिक कृतियां जैसे रोशनी के पृष्ठ, प्रणय पथिक, घनाक्षरी, धातु महारणव आदि भी हैं। मैं आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगा डॉक्टर राम विनय सिंह जी को और उन्हें निवेदन करूंगा कि वे अपने विचारों से हम सबको कृतार्थ करें। सर।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। पटल पर उपस्थित समस्त मनीषियों का सादर अभिनंदन करता हूं। मैं समझता हूं कि सब लोग हिंदी जानते हैं और इसी भाव से आपके सामने उपस्थित हो रहा हूं। भाषा है, जो प्रयोग में आए वही अपनी होती है, जो प्रयोग से छूट जाए वह पराई हो जाती है। हिंदी, संस्कृत, उर्दू यह सब हमारे प्रयोग में है, इसलिए वह हमारी अपनी है। जो भाषा दूसरे लोग बोलते हैं वह उनकी अपनी होती है, क्योंकि उनके प्रयोग में होती है, किंतु भाषा के स्तर पर कोई भेद नहीं होता है, क्योंकि भाव सबके भीतर एक समान समाहित होते हैं। मित्रों, आप सबको साहित्य, समाज और वैश्विक मीडिया, इसके विषय में जो आपने अंतर्राष्ट्रीय आयोजन किया है, इसमें आप सबके प्रति आभारी हूं कि आपने मुझे भी जोड़ा। मैं अच्छा महसूस कर रहा हूं। आज इस कार्यक्रम में प्रोफेसर यूलिया जी हैं, प्रोफेसर सुरेश चंद्र नायक जी हैं, प्रोफेसर राजकुमार सिंह जी हैं, निदेशक रिसर्च कल्चर सोसाइटी, और जितने भी लोग इस पटल पर जुड़े हैं, आप सबको पुनः पुनः साधुवाद पूर्वक प्रणाम निवेदित करता हूं और चर्चा करता हूं। मैं समझता हूं कि 15-20 मिनट का समय मेरे लिए निर्धारित है, तो उतनी देर मैं अपनी बात रखता हूं आपके सामने। मित्रों, 3 प्रकार की चीजें यहाँ विषय में निर्धारित हैं: साहित्य, समाज और वैश्विक मीडिया। ये तीनों विषय अपने आप में अंतः संबद्ध है, गुंथे हुए हैं, एक के बगैर दूसरे का अस्तित्व नहीं है। साहित्य, समाज और मीडिया तीनों एक दूसरे के पूरक हैं। तब ये पूरक हैं तो ये साहित्य है क्या, जो समाज का प्रतिनिधित्व करता है, और वह वैश्विक मीडिया क्या है, जो इस साहित्य और समाज का प्रचार और प्रसार करता है। आखिर तीनों के भीतर कोई न कोई तो खास ऐसी चीज है जिसके केंद्र में ये सारी चीजें चल रही है। तो केंद्र में समाज है। उस नाभि के स्थान पर केंद्र में जो समाज है, उसी समाज पर साहित्य का सृजन होता है, और उस सृजन का प्रचार और प्रसार करने का काम मीडिया का है। चाहे वह स्थानीय मीडिया हो या वैश्विक मीडिया हो, दायित्व सबका समान है। फिर बात उठती है कि यह साहित्य क्या है? क्या जो कुछ भी हमने कहा वह साहित्य है? जो कुछ भी हमने लिख दिया वह साहित्य है? जो कुछ भी हमने किसी भी रूप में प्रचारित कर दिया, क्या वह साहित्य का अंग मान लिया जाएगा? ऐसा नहीं है। साहित्य के शब्द पर जब हम विचार करते हैं तो यहाँ सहित शब्द पहले आता है, और सहित से साहित्य शब्द बनता है। सहित का मतलब होता है हित से युक्त। मैं संस्कृत का व्यक्ति हूं, इसलिए शब्दों की व्युत्पत्ति की भी बात जानता हूं। हित से जो युक्त हो, हितेन सहितम, जो हित के साथ है, हितेन सह सहितम, जो हित के साथ हो वही सहित कहलाता है। और सहितस्य भावः साहित्यम, सहित का भाव जहां होता है वही साहित्य कहलाता है। तात्पर्य यह हुआ कि जो कुछ भी हमारी सर्जना, जो भी हमारा अभिनव अवदान है, वह हितकारक होना चाहिए। लोक मंगल की भावना से जुड़ा हुआ अगर है, तभी वह समाज के लिए उपकारक है, समाज के लिए साहित्य के मानक पर उतरने वाला है। अगर वह समाज का भला नहीं करता हो कोई भी लेखन, तो उसे साहित्य कहलाने का कोई हक नहीं होता, चाहे वह किसी भी भाषा में हो। समाज का हित सबसे जरूरी है। लोक हित, लोक मंगल की कामना साहित्य के लिए सबसे आवश्यक है। आचार्य, एक बहुत बड़े आचार्य हुए आज से लगभग 1000 वर्ष पहले, मम्मट जिनका नाम हुआ, संस्कृत साहित्य में काव्य शास्त्र के बहुत धुरीण आचार्य हुए। उन्होंने काव्य के प्रयोजन को बताते हुए उन्होंने एक स्थान पर कहा कि शिवेत रक्षतये, जो अमंगल का नाश करने की बात बताए, वही तो साहित्य का प्रयोजन होता है। अर्थात जहां कुछ भी बुराइयां हैं, जहां कुछ अमंगल है, जहां कुछ भी अनिष्ट कारक तत्व है, उस सब को मिटा देने की भावना रखने वाला लोक मंगलकारी शब्द और अर्थ का समुच्चय साहित्य कहलाता है। साहित्य वह नहीं होगा जिससे किसी की हत्या की प्रेरणा मिले, किसी समाज को नष्ट करने की प्रेरणा मिले, किसी व्यक्ति का बुरा करने की प्रेरणा मिले, वह कतई साहित्य नहीं हो सकता। तो साहित्य समाज के मंगल के लिए होता है, समाज के हित के लिए होता है। फिर बात आती है कि वह समाज किसको हम कहेंगे? क्या समाज मनुष्यों की भीड़ को हम समाज मान लेंगे? कहा नहीं। उसकी भी बड़ी सुंदर व्याख्या, एक एक शब्द के भीतर अर्थ छुपा हुआ होता है। जब हम उस शब्द के भीतर के अर्थ को जान लेते हैं तो फिर उसके अनुसार काम करने लग जाते हैं। पहले हम समाज के अर्थ को देख लें, फिर हम साहित्य और समाज के बीच बात करते हैं। समाज का मतलब ही होता है समम अजंति जनाः अस्मिन् इति, अर्थात लोग जहां सौहार्द के साथ जीते हो, आनंद के साथ रहते हो, भली प्रकार एक दूसरे की हित की कामना करते हुए जीते हो, वैसे जन समूह को समाज कहा जाता है। वैसे जन समूह को हम समाज नहीं कह सकते जो वर्तमान में वैश्विक स्तर पर देखने में आता है। जो अफगानिस्तान की दशा है, उस समाज को हम समाज की कल्पना नहीं मान सकते हैं। तो वर्तमान दृष्टि से जो हमारी ऋषियों ने समाज की परिकल्पना की है, जहां कहा कि वसुधैव कुटुंबकम की बात कहते हैं कि पूरी दुनिया हमारे लिए परिवार है, पूरा संसार ही हमारा अपना है। तो पूरा संसार अपना कैसे होगा? यूलिया जी यूक्रेन में हैं, हम भारतवर्ष में बैठे हैं, लेकिन हम सबका जो वैचारिक भाव है, यह भाव एक दूसरे के हित की कामना से जुड़ा हुआ है। तभी तो हम साहित्य के संरक्षक हैं, तभी तो हम साहित्य के हित की बात करते हैं, क्योंकि हमारा समाज वैश्विक समाज है। पूरी दुनिया एक जैसी है, क्योंकि एक ही प्रकृति की संतान हम सभी हैं। स्थान अलग अलग हो सकते हैं, हमारी प्रवृत्तियां भिन्न नहीं हो सकती, हमारी आकृति प्रकृति में थोड़ा सा अंतर हो सकता है, हमारे भाव, हमारी संवेदनाएं, हमारी चेतना का स्तर एक समान ही होता है। और यही समाज और साहित्य का वास्तव में अंतः संबंध है। एक बहुत बड़े कवि हुए हिंदी साहित्य में, आचार्य जानकी वल्लभ शास्त्री। उन्होंने साहित्य को परिभाषित करते हुए बड़ी अच्छी बात कही। उन्होंने कहा कि साहित्य आत्म तृप्ति का उद्दाम उच्छ्वास है, जिसमें आपको आत्म संतोष प्राप्त हो, जिसको रचने से, जिसको बताने से आपके भीतर एक आत्म तृप्ति महसूस हो, अपने भीतर आप संतोष महसूस करें, वह सृजन साहित्य कहलाएगा। वह संतोष कैसे आएगा? वह संतोष लोक मंगल के प्रचार से आएगा, जिससे संसार का भला हो सके, जिसके कहने से, जिसके सुनने से आपकी अंतरात्मा तृप्त हो जाए, आनंद से भर जाए, और जिसे सुनने से सुनने वाले का मन आनंद से भर जाए। वही प्रसन्नता, वही प्रसाद गुण साहित्य का संवाहक होता है, जो समाज के हित के लिए है। जिससे समाज का भला नहीं हो सकता, वह कतई साहित्य नहीं हो सकता। कुछ आचार्यों की बात कहना चाहता हूं। प्रेमचंद जी, आप सब लोग जानते हैं मुंशी प्रेमचंद जी को, पूरी दुनिया जानती है। देखिए कितनी अच्छी बात उन्होंने कही है साहित्य के विषय में, और वह समाज से संबद्ध विषय है। कहते हैं कि हमारी कसौटी पर वही साहित्य खरा उतरेगा जिसमें उच्च चिंतन हो, स्वाधीनता का भाव हो, सौंदर्य का सार हो, सृजन की आत्मा हो, जीवन की सच्चाइयों का प्रकाश हो, जो हम में गति और बेचैनी पैदा करे, सुलाए नहीं, जागरण देने वाला, सुलाए नहीं, क्योंकि अब और ज्यादा सोना मृत्यु का लक्षण है। मृत्यु हो जाना, साहित्य और समाज सबका मिट जाना मृत्यु है। जागरण, हम सबका साहित्य और समाज के हित में तत्पर रहना, चिंतनशील रहना ही वास्तव में समाज का धर्म है, और वास्तव में साहित्य का सृजन धर्म है। इस दृष्टि से जब हम विचार करते हैं तो जानते हैं कि साहित्य और समाज दोनों एक दूसरे के पूरक। अगर समाज न हो तो साहित्य का चित्रण नहीं हो सकता। जो कुछ भी साहित्य में लिखा जाता है वह समाज ही तो है, चाहे वह क्रांति की बात हो, चाहे शांति की बात, सभी इन लेखनी के माध्यम से ही बाहर निकल करके आते हैं, कलम से ही वो सारी चीजें निकलती हैं। एक बहुत बड़े कवि हिंदी साहित्य के हुए गोपाल सिंह नेपाली, उन्होंने लिखा कि हर क्रांति कलम से शुरू हुई संपूर्ण हुई, हर क्रांति कलम से शुरू हुई संपूर्ण हुई, चट्टान जुल्म की कलम चली तो चूर्ण हुई, हम कलम चलाकर त्रास बदलने वाले हैं, हम तो कवि हैं इतिहास बदलने वाले हैं, हम तो कवि हैं इतिहास बदलने वाले हैं। तो साहित्यकार, साधक युग धर्म पर एक अभिनव चित्र रच देता है, समय के वक्ष पर एक ऐसा हस्ताक्षर कर देता है जिस हस्ताक्षर की छाप अनंत काल तक बनी रहती है और जिसके आलोक में जनजीवन अपना जीवन यापन करता होता है, अपने मानस की लोक यात्रा कराता होता है। तो ऐसी जो चीज है वह वास्तव में साहित्य का है। साहित्य केवल पर्वत का चित्र खींच देना नहीं है, साहित्य केवल जंगलों की ध्वनि सुन लेना नहीं है, वह कलकल निनाद नदियों का प्रकट कर देना या शब्दों में ढाल देना भर नहीं है। साहित्य वह है जो समग्र रूप में जीवन जीने की कला सिखा दे, मनुष्य को मनुष्य होने की कला सिखा दे, वही तो साहित्य है। महाकवि भर्तृहरि ने तभी तो कहा, आज से लगभग 2500 वर्ष पहले हमारे देश के ऐसे ऐसे सचेता हुए जिन्होंने साफ साफ कहा कि साहित्य मनुष्य होने की पहचान है। साहित्य अगर कोई जानता है, सीखता है, उसको समझता है, तो समझें कि वह वास्तव में मनुष्य हो रहा है, वह आदमी हो रहा है। क्योंकि आकृति से कोई मनुष्य नहीं होता, प्रकृति से मनुष्य होता है। और प्रकृति से जब मनुष्य होगा तो उसके भीतर साहित्य सहज रूप में बसेगा ही। साहित्य संगीत कला विहीन साक्षात पशु पुच्छ विषाणहीन। कहते हैं कि अगर साहित्य संगीत और कला नहीं है तो वह मनुष्य होकर के भी पशु है। क्योंकि पशु केवल आकृति से ही तो भिन्न है, किंतु आकृति से भिन्न होने पर भी अगर उसमें प्रकृति का तत्व विशेष हो जाए तो पशु के भी मनुष्य होने में देर नहीं लगती। और मनुष्य भी अगर विकृति से ग्रस्त हो जाए तो उसे पशु होने में देर नहीं लगती। वह तो पशु है ही, प्रकृति की दृष्टि से वह भी पशु है, बस गुण धर्म की दृष्टि से विशेषता के कारण ही उस साहित्य संगीत और कला के बल से ही वह मनुष्य बना होता है। तो हमारा साहित्य समाज को मानवीय संवेदना से जोड़ता है और तभी हमारा साहित्य और समाज एक दूसरे को पूर्ण करने में लगा रहता है। अब बात आती है इस पूर्णता के प्रचार की, तो उस पूर्णता के प्रचार का धर्म है वैश्विक मीडिया का। मीडिया स्वच्छ ईमान वाला होना चाहिए। अगर ईमानदारी नहीं है तो फिर वह मीडिया नहीं है। कहते हैं एक बहुत अच्छे आचार्य क्या पूरी दुनिया जिन्हें जानती है, बड़े आचार्य भी हुए, बड़े मनीषी भी हुए, बहुत बड़े सचेता हुए समाज के, जिन्हें हम महात्मा गांधी के नाम से जानते हैं। महात्मा गांधी जी ने दिल्ली की एक प्रार्थना सभा में 3 मई 1947 में 1947 में एक बात कही थी पत्रकारिता के लिए और पत्रकार के लिए। कितनी कड़वी बात है, लेकिन आप सुनिए, उस युग का सच आज भी आपको सच होता हुआ महसूस होगा। कहते हैं कि मैं जानता हूं कि बहुत से अखबार नवीस ऐसे होते हैं जो थोड़ा इधर पूछते हैं, थोड़ा उधर पूछते हैं और बात गढ़ लेते हैं, लेकिन मैं कहूंगा कि वे लोग उच्छिष्ट भोजन करते। उच्छिष्ट मतलब छोड़ा हुआ, झूठा। उच्छिष्ट भोजन करना अखबार नवीस का काम नहीं है। वह तो सब कुछ ताजा ताजा परोस करके उसे लाना होता है। जो ऐसी ईमानदारी रखता है, वास्तव में वैश्विक मीडिया का वही धर्म निभाता है। तो समाज की ईमानदारी, साहित्य की ईमानदारी को लेकर के अपने पास संभाल करके जो ईमानदारी के साथ लोक यात्रा करे, वास्तव में वैश्विक मीडिया का धर्म वही निभाता है। आज के समय में यह दशा बिगड़ती हुई जा रही है, ऐसा देखने में अनेक शाह आता है। और इसके चित्र प्राचीन काल से ही, लंबे समय पीछे से ही शुरू हो गए, क्योंकि ईमानदारी और बेईमानी मनुष्य के भीतर ही समाई होती है। और पत्रकार भी मनुष्य ही होते हैं, उनमें ईमानदार भी होते हैं तो वहां बेईमान भी कुछ होंगे ही होंगे। जैसे साहित्यकार में भी सभी साहित्यकार अच्छे ही माने जाएं जरूरी नहीं है, कुछ साहित्य उपेक्षा के योग्य भी मान लिए जाते हैं, क्योंकि वह लोक मंगल से भिन्न होता है। तो इस दृष्टि से बहुत सारी बातें होती हैं, बहुत सारे प्रसंग हैं जो कहने के हैं। एक बात मैं कहना चाहता हूं, महाकवि आचार्य शास्त्री जी के माध्यम से ही एक बहुत सुंदर बात उन्होंने साहित्य को परिभाषित करते हुए दी। और इसके साथ जब समय लगभग हो जाए तो मुझे संकेत कर दीजिएगा आदरणीय दीपा जी, तो मैं समझ जाऊंगा कि मुझे मौन हो जाना है, तो मैं उस हिसाब से रुक लूंगा। एक उदाहरण आपको देता हूं, बहुत सुंदर उन्होंने कहा कि साहित्य क्या है, इसमें समाज भी समाहित हो जाता है। उन्होंने कहा कि राशिकृत ज्ञान, जमा किया हुआ जो ज्ञान है, राशिकृत ज्ञान पुंजीभूत शाश्वत सत्य, संचित मानस रस, उद्वेलित आनंद, लोकोत्तर प्रतिभा प्रकाश, प्राणों के पालने पर हौले हौले पेंगे भरती सौंदर्य को सजीव प्रतिमा ही तो साहित्य है। फिर कहा कि वह जो देह में हृदय, हृदय में प्राण और प्राणों में अनुभूति है। कितनी बड़ी बात कही कि वह जो देह में हृदय, हृदय में प्राण और प्राणों में अनुभूति है, वह जो सांस में स्वर, स्वर में राग और राग में मदिर मधुर मूर्छना में संगीत है, वह जो स्वप्निल कल्पना में भाव, भाव में रूप और रूप में चेतन लावण्य है, वही सत्य सौंदर्य का मंगल पे मंगल में संस्पर्श है, उसी को साहित्य कहते हैं। तो यह सब जब समाहित हो जाए, जहां सत्य, शिव और सुंदर एक रूप हो करके सामने प्रकट हो जाए, जिससे हम अपने आप को एकाकार कर लें, जहां सगुण और निर्गुण का भेद मिट जाए, वही वास्तव में साहित्य है। और जब वह साहित्य लोक के चित्र को हमारी आंखों के सामने प्रत्यक्ष कर दे, तो वास्तव में वह साहित्य लोक के लिए हो जाता है, वह समाज का प्रतिबिंब बन जाता है। और उस प्रतिबिंब को लेकर के पत्रकारिता आगे बढ़े, तो वास्तव में साहित्य, समाज और वैश्विक मीडिया अपने धर्म को निभा लेगा, इसमें कोई संदेह का विषय नहीं है। और मैं समझता हूं कि इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं अपनी वाणी को विरमित करूं, एक कवि की पंक्ति उद्धृत करते हुए, क्योंकि कवि वास्तव में साहित्यकार कवि ही होता है। कवि ही मूल शब्द है। कवि का मतलब है वर्णनयी, वर्णन करने वाला, वर्णयिता। कुवर्णने से कवि शब्द बना है कि जो कुछ भी वर्णन करने वाला है, साहित्यकार उसी में समाहित हो जाता है। एक कवि ने कहा कि कवि सत्ता से डरे, व्यवस्था का वह कृतदास हो जाए। कवि सत्ता से डरे, व्यवस्था का वह कृतदास हो जाए। द्वैध भाव से ग्रस्त रहे कवि और शोषकों के गुण गाए। नहीं नहीं, कवि भ्रष्ट व्यवस्था का न करेगा कभी समर्थन। विश्व सभ्यता का दर्पण है मानवतावादी कवि कामन। विश्व सभ्यता का दर्पण है मानवतावादी कवि कामन। तो मानवतावादी चेतना का संवाहक होता है कवि, और उन्हीं की लेखनी से साहित्य निकलता है। उन्हीं के लेखनी के प्रभाव से समाज का निर्माण होता है। समाज अपने चित्र को देखता है कवि की कविता में, और कवि समाज को चित्रित करता है अपने साहित्य के रूप में। और इस सब के दाय को संभाल करके मीडिया समाज के सामने उस साक्षात सत्य को लेकर के आगे बढ़ती है। और यही धर्म वास्तव में साहित्य, समाज और वैश्विक मीडिया का है। मैं अपनी बातों को इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ विरमित करता हूं। मैं समझता हूं कि मेरे लिए निर्धारित जो समय है वह अपनी पूर्णता को प्राप्त हो चुका होगा। बोलते बोलते समय का पता भी नहीं चलता है। मैं अपने शब्दों को यहीं विरमित करता हूं। सादर प्रणाम निवेदित करता हूं आप सबको, और पुनः पुनः प्रोफेसर यूलिया जी को, प्रोफेसर सुरेश चंद्र नायक जी को, प्रोफेसर राजकुमार सिंह जी को और निदेशक महोदय को सादर साधुवाद समर्पित करता हूं। बहुत बहुत आभार। साधुवाद, प्रणाम।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर रामविनय सिंह जी। आपके विचार साहित्य, समाज और वैश्विक मीडिया को लेकर हम सभी को प्रेरित करते हैं और करते रहेंगे। आपके विचार बहुत ही मूल्यवान थे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much. In fact, that was a mesmerizing talk. Although, as I told you, Hindi language is such beautiful language, like all the languages of the world, I guess. And I got some remarks in the chat box that they are Tamil speaking and they do not know Hindi. And so is our keynote, Yulia. So just to give you, two lines about what I understood is that literature is meant for everyone, and whoever is the creator, whatever is the language, the ethic values are all same, and whatever the practice be it as a journalist or a literary writer, we should be ethical, and whatever we do, it should be for the good of the society. That is the nutshell and the crux of what Dr. Ram Vinay Singh ji wanted to convey. Okay, thank you so much for that enlightening talk. Our next keynote addressee is Dr. Suresh Chandra Nayak. I'm extremely honored and privileged to introduce him to our participants and to all the dignitaries of the day. He is head Amity School of Communication, Amity University, Chhattisgarh, Raipur. He did his MA and MPhil in English, and he also completed PG, DRL, LL, and LLB. He obtained his doctoral degree in journalism and mass communication. He worked as principal of OIMSC BBSR and as associate professor and HOD, journalism and mass communication department. Currently, he is professor and head ASCO department at Amity University, Chhattisgarh, one of the leading educational institutes of India. He has been a resource person in many national and international seminars and organized also several of them. He edited 2 books and wrote several chapters in books. He guided several PhD scholars and is nominated in leadership positions in the editorial boards of national and international journals. He's also pursuing right now his DLET in mass communication. So a very warm welcome to Professor Suresh Chandra Nayak.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
And I will also say you are also a fellow colleague because I am also from School of Languages, Amity University, Rajasthan.
That's great.
So,
that's great. That means
very warm welcome to
Thank
you,
you.
and
Thank
over
you
to
so
you,
much.
Professor
Thank you so much.
Nayak.
Thank you so much. So first of all, I would like to congratulate the organizer for organizing such a wonderful international conference that to be on literature, society, and the global media. You see, let me first of all start with Dr. Vinay's statement that you cannot think of the existence of media without literature. Literature is the essence of each and every media organization. Being a media teacher, I do remember, because I did my MA MPhil in English as well. So I was I'm more a literature person than a media person. I remember the famous words of Matthew Arnold. Arnold once said that journalism is, what is journalism? Someone asked. So journalism is in hurry. That means journalism is literature in hurry. I'm once again repeating. Matthew Arnold said that journalism is literature in hurry. So looking at this statement, if you see that you cannot, that means even if you are working with media, you cannot escape from the clutches of literature. Literature is the essence of any media organization or any media person. Now, that means I remember a very good statement given by John Dewey. John Dewey said that once he said, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible. Perfect.
That's great. So Dewey said that John Dewey said in 1916, society not only continues to exist by transmission, by communication, but it may fairly be said to exist in transmission in communication. It means what? You cannot think of a society without communication. As if I ask my participants what exactly the definition of society, then some of you may say that society is nothing. It is a collection of individuals. Again, if you relate with the statement given by Aristotle, that man is a social animal. That means we are living in the society. We cannot, we cannot go away from the society. And media is is extremely an important part of society. Literature, what is literature? Literature is the reflection of society. What is media? Media is again the mirror of the society, or media is again the reflection of society. Whatever is happening in the society, whatever is happening around your surrounding, that is important to bring to the notice of the public, bring to the notice of the people who are associated with it. Now, in this seminar, Julia ji is from that means from a different country. Vinay ji somewhere else. Other Ramji, Dr. Ramji, Professor Ramji was also from some other place. We are all sitting together and we are discussing on a topic on literature, society, and the global media. Now, coming to the relation of literature and society is very close. You cannot think of that means society without literature, and you cannot think of literature without society as well. But coming to the role of media, media is playing a very important role, both that means in the society as well in the literature. Why? I'm telling you, that means in a society, media has the ability to create a perception. Whatever we are, that means whatever we are coming across, that means coming across the news media. So that news media, whatever we are coming across to news media, we are going to have some perception in our mind. We think that no, that this is what happening somewhere in Ukraine, this is what happening somewhere in Poland or somewhere in Rajasthan or somewhere in Jalandhar. So it is the media which creates a perception, and at the very same time, there is an important role of media, that is IEE. Any medium, be it your television, be it your radio, be it your web media, be it your traditional media, be it your print media, newspaper, whatever the form of media is, there are majorly they perform three functions. That is IEE, information, that means to inform, to educate, and to entertain. The entertainment that comes at the last stage. But the most important thing is, so far as the role of media is concerned, to inform the people, to inform the public, to inform the readers, viewers, listeners. So being a journalist, being a reporter, being a media person, we need to understand our role is, to some extent we are confined. Our role is to inform the people or to disseminate the right kind of information to the right kind of audience at the right time. That is what our role is. But sometimes, I'm very sorry to say, that sometimes we media people or the people who are working in media, they are trying to go for a media trial, or they are trying to play the role of the judiciary. Because you see, there are three organs of the government. All of us we know. Your legislature, executive, and judiciary is there. And media is considered as the fourth state and the fourth organ of the government. That means it is a very important pillar of democracy. There is no doubt. But we need to understand our role and responsibility. What exactly our role is? Our role is to give the right kind of information to the people. Our role is not to be very judgmental. Our role is not at all to be very, that means what I say, to give our own opinions. Rather, we are supposed to cover the opinions and the views of the people who are surrounded with us. That is very important. So I have prepared a slide. Let me is it visible or not? Okay. So it has, that means there is a variety of media platform. If you now look at the various media platforms, starting from your print, just remember that means the beginning of the media, starting from the traditional media to the right now we are in the web media. What exactly the definition of global media? Now, each and everything, you remember the statement given by Marshall McLuhan during 1960s. He said that the whole world is going to be a global village and communication is going to be much more easier than before. Now, that means if you want to communicate something to someone sitting somewhere in a you can call it of a country or somewhere in Japan or in Tunisia, you can communicate that, and that to be within fraction of seconds you can communicate to them. That is what the global media scenario is. Now you see in India is considered as to be one of the most important, most leading film producers of the world. Now, if you look at that means the Indian media scenario, the Indian media scenario is no doubt it is controlled by very few, but at the very same time, these media houses, they are giving their best to inform and to educate the people and educate the masses. So if you look at the functions of media, as I said, that information, education, entertainment, and sometimes we say that media also plays the role of a catalyst to development. Development of a society is only possible. Development is not God-gifted. Development is not God-gifted. Rather, it is a collective effort of the individuals of the society. So whenever we say that the collective effort of the individuals of the society, it is our responsibility to inform the people what exactly the expectations of the public. And accordingly, they need to, that means, discharge their duties. As there is a saying that rights here implies duties. If you say that I have every right, being a citizen of the country, I have every right to walk on the road, it is fine. But at the very same time, we need to think of the rights of others. So your rights, that implies duties. So being a media person, no doubt you have every right to expose, to dig out the truth. You are supposed to expose the wrongdoers. Yes, but you should not be judgmental in your approach. You should not be judgmental in your approach. Your responsibility is to inform. Let the government decide, let the judiciary decide, let the people decide what is that means what punishment should be given, what course of action should be taken. Let them take a call on that. We are not supposed to, that means be very judgmental, and we are not supposed to be very that means what I say, you cannot impose anything on them. This is a very, very important thing. Then coming to just the political awareness, it creates political awareness. I remember that means when Modi ji came to our honorable Prime Minister came to power, nobody was aware of Modi ji. Everybody was appreciating during 2014. I remember the role of media. It is the media which can create the image of that means of the societal members, and it is the media which can tarnish and destroy the image of any individual or any organization. Just remember in 2014, in the general election, there was a that means there was a feeling among the public, among the citizens, that Manmohan Singh was one of the, that means am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Fine. I remember during that time, that means Manmohan Singh was considered as one of the best prime minister. People, they tend to believe that no, Manmohan Singh is a Sardar and a graduate, that means a postgraduate from Harvard School, or that means a very learned person, and he is leading the nation in a very rightful direction. And during that time, people tend to, that means scold this gentleman, that means Modi ji. But now you see, it is the media which changed the entire scenario. The people, those who used to scold, that means Modi ji, they started just after the scolds come, they started scolding, that means and giving negative remarks on Manmohan Singh. So this is what media is. So being a media person, being a journalist, being a reporter, we should know that it is you who can create a perception in the minds of the public. So you cannot, that means, misguide the people. You cannot misguide the public, because a single fault of yours can lead a nation towards destruction. So we should be very careful in our approach. Media is considered again as the watchdog of the society. Why? There is a close connection, as I have been telling. There is a close connection between media and society. They cannot be separated. Watchdog of the society. That means you are. That means you are so vigilant, and you are supposed to, that means, inform the societal members on each and every occasion. The role of media is not only confined to inform or educate or to entertainment. At the very same time, we need to inform about the imminent dangers that may arise. I'm just giving an example. Now you see the global media scenario. What is happening? What is happening? If now the Taliban and Pansir issue is going on. Sitting at my home, the Ram Banerjee is sitting somewhere, Rajkumarji is sitting somewhere. We are now trying to, that means assess, we are trying to now assess the Taliban and the Pansir movement. We don't have any idea, but still we are able to give some comment, or we are able to give some statement just because of the news media, because we are watching, we are listening them, and then only we are able to understand, yes, this is what that means the scenario, and this is what the condition of Taliban and the Pansir. So the role, now the global media scenario, if you look at, it is changing very fast. There was a time that we are confined to only newspapers. There was a time we are confined to only our country. There was a time we were confined to only one society. But now that has been changed. Now we are the global citizens. We are no more only, I cannot consider only myself as an Indian citizen. Yes, I'm an Indian citizen. I'm proud to be an Indian citizen. But at the very same time, I feel equally proud to be a global citizen. Why I'm telling you now, if anything happens in US or in Canada or in Australia or in India, each and every news, you see the global leaders. That may be your Biden, that may be our Modi, or that may be your Imran Khan, whosoever is leading the nation. All of them, they are just paying a hit to the news media. What is happening in India? What is happening in Pakistan? What is happening in US? What is happening in Japan? And through that, they are able to derive a way. Through that means the global communication becomes easier. And my dear friends, let me tell you that communication rules the world. Always keep in mind, communication rules the world. Be it the election of your Barack Obama became the president of US, or be it your Arvind Kejriwal became the chief minister of your Delhi, or be it your Narendra Modi ji, the honorable prime minister of India. They're all, that means I may be wrong. I'm not saying I may be wrong, but what, being a media teacher, what I feel, this is what the creation of the media has created, that image in the minds of the public. You see that means the impact of media. If it is the global media, if you look at the global media, if something is happening in Ukraine or in Japan, that will have a direct impact. You see the culture, we are now that means affected. Something is happening somewhere in Japan, but here in India, you will see that people will be going for a march. People will start protesting. Something is happening somewhere in Uttar Pradesh, and there will be a protest somewhere in Odisha or in West Bengal. Why it is happening? Now the global media, exactly it refers, that means how communication becomes much faster. Within fraction of seconds, you are reaching to the public. Within fraction of seconds, you are able to communicate with the people. That is what the beauty of the global media. That is what the beauty of the new media. Now we are all connected. Now we are all connected in a common platform where we can interact with each other, where we can share our thoughts, feelings, whatever we want to do. I hope I'm audible. Maybe
yes, sir, please continue.
That's great. That's great. Society and the societal members, they are influenced directly or indirectly by media in so many ways. It is the media which keep people updated. It is the media which keep people informed. And it is the media which informs the public, informs the people how to react, how to act. That is what media is. And media is considered as the mirror of the modern society. And in fact, if you look at the role of media, it saves our lives. I'm just giving you a figure. The Indian media and entertainment industry is one of the fastest growing industry in the world, one of the fastest growing industry. Its film and television sectors are dominating the entire entertainment industry. They're growing, and globalization has impacted the entertainment and the media sector. India produces many films running at global level theaters, that may be in Japan, that may be in Singapore, that may be in US, Canada, Australia, whatever may be. And Indian films and televisions got very large audience all over the world. Now, what happens? Viacom, a US-based company, and your Network 18, News 18, an Indian-based company. Now they join hands to produce films. Now they join hands to come up with that means some content for the people, and it has become only possible just because of the globalization and effect of the globalization. So globalization, we can say, I do remember the lines were written by Chaudhary in 2014. Globalization refers to the convergence of the global and the local communication, wherein individuals, groups, and institutions are seeking global advice and solutions for the local problems. Now we are in a global world. Now we are in a global world. There is nothing called that means global, local, global plus local. The Indian people, they seek the support of the Western people, and the Western people, they seek the support of the Indian people. This is what that means the beauty of the global concept, both global and local. Now they are joining hands. That may be a film, that may be a content for a news, that means a newspaper, that may be a content for the television, whatever. Now both the parties, they join hands with together, and they come up with some that means effective content, so that people they prefer to watch or they prefer to listen. Now in India, you see, just imagine a number of newspapers, a number of news channels, television channels are there, but still, why do people they prefer to watch only one that means section of that means what I say, newspapers, or only one or few television channels? There the role of credibility that arises. My dear friends, we should always keep in mind the role of media or the importance of media cannot be neglected in a country like India. I do remember when media started its journey, that was a different, that means it started its journey with a mission. With a mission to what? With a mission to serve the societal members. But now, being a media teacher, we have been teaching our students that media is now a business. So if media is a business, that means almost all the qualities that are associated with a business organization, that is also connected to your media organizations as well. We need to provide the content as per the demand, as per the interest of the audience, as per the interest of the readers or the viewers. You cannot produce content as per your choice. We need to produce that. Just remember, now people they are putting a number of that means short videos that may be on your that means Facebook, that may be on YouTube and other platforms. Very short videos, maybe of that means 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 20 seconds, like that. And through that also, I remember, because I'm here in Chhattisgarh, there was a that means news all of you might be aware of. There was a song, or what is that song? That means a boy of Chhattisgarh, that means a traditional boy of Chhattisgarh, a tribal boy of Chhattisgarh. He was felicitated by the chief minister because 2 years back he sang a song and he put it in the social media, and now that becomes more that means famous and more popular. This is what the global media is. You never know what you have said today. You never know what you have created today may be of immense use for the future generation. maybe a source of information, or maybe a source of entertainment for the future generation. So we, as that means as a media person, we need to understand our responsibility. We need to understand that means the connection between literature, society, and the global media. You cannot make them separate. As Ram Vinayji was also saying, that literature is life, pen is mightier than sword. These lines cannot be omitted. Pen will always remain as mightier than sword only. You cannot replace the power of pen. You cannot replace the power of literature. The whole content, you look at the movies, that may be your Indian movies, or that may be the Western movies, or that may be the movies in regional or the local language. More or less, they're all influenced by literature itself. The content, if you're not a good writer, do you think that you can become a good journalist? No. If you are not, that means if you are not a good communicator, do you think that you can become a good journalist or a good reporter? No. So the qualities which are required to become a good communicator or to become a good journalist are more or less similar with the qualities related to literature. And coming to your society and the global media, now we are in an informed society. Now we are in a global society. We cannot confine only to Indian society. We are now in a global society. We are now learning many things from each other. That means, be it your culture, be it your, that means, be it your culture, be it your behavior, be your, that means, attitude, whatever may be. Each and everything is, that means, affected, and we are learning from each other. So with this, I think, I don't know what is the time. So thank you so much once again for giving me this wonderful opportunity to, that means, speak a few words. And I'm also thankful to the organizing committee, Dr. Patel ji, my co-panelist Ram Vijay ji and Raj Kumar ji, all the that means the people those who are here. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Suresh Chandra Nayak, for your enlightening words. In fact, what you actually highlighted in a very vocal manner is that media has three principal objectives: inform, educate, and entertain. It cannot, sell disinformation. It has to be ethical. It has to be objective. There is no possibility of being judgmental. You talked about several collaborative efforts. That's very, very important today. That you talked about Viacom and News 18, who are joining hands and becoming a collaborative body. And that kind of enterprises you have appreciated. Also, you talked about the global concept, that is the merging of the global and the local, which is extremely significant as well. So media being the watchdog of the society, something which is extremely, should be done so that excesses can be put forward as incorrect and awareness will be spread. Thank you very much for your talk.
Thank you
Professor
so much,
Nayak.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Yulia ji. Thank you so much, Ram Vinay ji. Thank you so much. Vinay ji, thank you so much.
Thank you. So our next keynote addressee is Professor Raj Kumar Singh. I'm extremely delighted to introduce our next keynote addressee, Professor Dr. Raj Kumar Singh, Dean, R&D and HOD Department of Commerce at the Center for Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Skill Development, School of Management Studies at Mahatma Gandhi Kashi Vidyapit, Varanasi. Professor Singh did his MBA from Institute of Management Studies, BHU, and PhD in Commerce from VBS Purvachal University. He possesses around 30 years of academic and industrial experience. Before joining academics, he was the CEO and group general manager in different MNCs as well as national companies. Presently, he is working at the School of Management Sciences at Varanasi. He is also the chairperson at various bodies such as Center for Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Skill Development, Center for Advanced Research and Development, and is serving leadership roles at various committees at his own university. In addition to this, he is member Humanology Malaysia and chairman Public Relations Society of India, Varanasi chapter. Besides, he is board member of various national and international committees. So that's a very short brief about you, CV. Professor Singh, I welcome you to give your address. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
My voice is coming. Okay. So first, I would like to express my gratitude to Dr. Chirag Patel, the President, CEO, and Director of the Research Culture Society and Scientific Research Association, for inviting me to this international conference on literature, society, and the global media. Today, my deliberation will be impact of social media and electronic media on education. So I would like to congratulate the entire organizing team for selecting this topic. This is having a 3 dimensions: literature, society, and global media. This has been an obvious question because apart from being a student of management, I've also been a student of journalism and mass communication. So I would like to see the things from both the perspective, from the business as well as from the point of view of the journalism and mass communication. This has been a vicious circle from very. It's an old saying that media or literature is the reflection of society. Now, we are unable to understand whether society is affecting our literature or media and literature is affecting our society. One very excellent term has been used and it's always used, that pain is mightier than sword. Means pen is powerful than sword. But today, with the blind forwarding of messages on the WhatsApp groups, it seems that these kind of messages are more powerful than the pen now, because we are relying more on these messages than the actual writings, the intellects. It is a vicious circle. No doubt, in the Indian democracy, if you see, there are 4 pillars. The legislature is there, judiciary is there, executive is there, and media is there. But sometimes when we see the media doing the media trial, it becomes a questionable aspect whether the media is playing its role in a real way, in an actual way or not. No doubt, the impact of the social media and electronic media is on our life, in our education, our society. This is inevitable. But if you compare with the responsible media like newspaper and even the electronic media, it has to some extent the control of their own guidelines, their own management. But when it comes to the social media, it is totally uncontrolled. No doubt, in the country like India, we cannot have any regulations on all these aspects. But one part of the segment, what has been in the main theme of the conference, the literature, society, and the global media, the society role become very important. We cannot leave everything on legislatures, judiciary, executive, and media only. This is our responsibility also. So we need to be a responsible citizen in that. And we have to understand that we need to be a self-regulatory. If a message is coming to my WhatsApp group, whether we should forward it or not, this is very important. During this COVID phase from last 1.5 years, what we have seen, the importance of this digital media, I would like to say the digital media has increased. I'm a teacher and most of our eminent professors are here. I'm saying they all have gone through that phase. You're not aware of that. What actually the social, this kind of online education is. I'm of firm confidence. People of my age, 1.5 years back, we were not knowing what actually the Zoom is, what actually the Google Meet is, what other mediums are there. But we have to learn all these things, and we have gone through this very troublesome phase. So no doubt, the positive dimensions of this social media, we have seen that current media we have seen. On the workplaces also, we have seen the importance of all these things. I'm a professional consultant also. I provide consultancies to so many organizations. Previously, I have to personally go to those places. Even those, professors who are sitting there, they must be knowing, or if they are being invited as a resource person in any FDP. They all were going to those places physically. But now the situation has changed. Now the situation has changed. And now we are going through virtual. And students are taking the education virtually. We are participating in various conferences virtually. Even at present also we are participating virtually. So this is the important. We all know at present we are living in the phase of Industry 4.0. So at present we are in a stage of Industry 4.2 where more and more emphasis on the digitalization process is there. And with this, we are moving towards the Industry 5.2. Because what has been observed, that access digitalization has made us inhuman. The human touch is decreasing. And this we all teachers have observed in the online education. You may have observed the kind of change in the behavior of the student. What you are doing in the offline education where the student is sitting in front of us and you are delivering, this is not being observed when we are going to the online education. Everywhere such kind of things are there. And so far as the social media is concerned, I would like to say very frankly that this social media has made us more unsocial. Even in one room, husband and wife is there and they are on the social media, even they have communicating their message through the social media. So personal communication is lacking. This is one of the bad impact. See, I remember a very old film, Nayak of late Dilip Kumar Saab. The entire film was based on the conflict between the man and machine. And here the same thing is happening now. With this, the education 4.0 is being developed. And now again, there is a need to move towards the education 5.0. And how the society will be aloof. The society 4.0 is there. And now again, we have to move toward the society 5.0 where the human aspect has to be there. We are human beings. We are not machines. Any education institution is not meant to produce the robots. They are meant to produce the human being with a character. See, this social media is a double-edged sword. It can give many benefits, but it can harm us. We are not in a new normal. This term is being used in pandemic, new normal. But what I'm observing, this is gradually becoming new abnormal. So far as electronic media is concerned, we are suffering from a different kind of terrorism. I've coined a term, TRP terrorism. For the sake of the TRP, you go to any channel, you will find the same faces in every channel, like same message in every group. You'll find the same faces in every channel, and they are creating sensation. Why the liberal faces are not being invited on that? Because you want the hue and cry, you want the violence on the TV channels. So this is what actually is a negative impact on that. Plus, since COVID, the second phase I've observed, and you also must have observed, there has been a misinterpretation of the news by the Indian media as well as the Western media. I will give one example. There is a district in near Varanasi called Gazipur. Those who are from the Gazipur, they must be knowing. The villages near the river Ganga, they are having a very old tradition of throwing the dead bodies in the Ganga. It's a very old tradition. But during the COVID time, it was misinterpreted in the media and said that there is no place to burn, that's why they are being put in the Ganga. In Hindus, the cremations are always open. And it was shown on the media, especially on the Western media, because I always went to various international conferences also, that see the bodies are being openly cremated. In Hindu, there's a culture of open cremation. It's unlike the Muslims or Christians, we are having a tradition to do that. So how you misinterpret the news? This we have openly seen that. And majority of you must be knowing that more people have suffered from COVID and died from the COVID because of psychological issues. We have terrorized so much to the people. See, psychology is having a very bad impact on our body. Those who are from the psychology background, they must be knowing about that. That if someone is ill and if you continue to say, oh, you will die, you will die, you will die, definitely he will die. Because this is our internal aspects. That's why I always used to say that we have not suffered from the pandemic. I've coined a term, we have suffered from the infodemics. Infodemics, the bombarding of the information. And same thing we are doing with our students also. Whatever YouTube videos we are getting, whatever written materials we are getting, we are just throwing to the students. Read. How much a content a student can read? This should be very clear. So we have to understand this difference. See, with the new national education policy, you must have gone through that. The digital education has been given a very important. This is important because through the move, massive open online courses, this is very important that the things are moving all across India, all across the world. But at the same time, India needs to understand the digital gap also. And we need to create a digital infrastructure for it. Because 65 to 70% population live in the rural areas where the digital infrastructure is needed. But doing in that process, we must understand the journey from information to knowledge and knowledge to the wisdom. This is the journey of any student and any teacher. We should not forget that, because this is a very revolutionary education policy. It will definitely change the thing through 360-degree ways. And through that, we should understand that the 4 pillars of the academics should be motivated, should be promoted through the digital media, whether it's a teaching learning process, whether this is a research, whether this is a training and consultancy, or whether it's academic administration. Because society is dividing, no? It's a language divide, it's a social divide, it's a cultural divide, and now this is new, digital divide. How many times will we be divided? We have to search for the common grounds and new. But this is also true that with the emergence of this media, the new entrepreneurial opportunities for the students has emerged, like in the field of the digital marketing, e-commerce, the content development. So overall, when we talk about the entire digital media dimension, whether it's a social media or electronic media, we need to work on the 11C model of communication. So what are those 11 C's? One is the communication in totality. Second, the clarity of content. This is also very important, but what I've given the few examples. The content were not. In this COVID phase, the cleanliness has become very important. And no doubt, with the from very beginning, the Swachhata mission, the media has done a very important role. We should not forget that. And contamination concept of the social distance. this social media has created, or in general, we have given this term the social distancing. Actually, it should be a physical distancing, not a social distancing. How we can distance ourselves from the society for such a longer period of time? Next is the confusion avoidance. Don't create the confusion. Conflict management. Media role is not to create conflict, rather to resolve the conflict. And you should have the confirmation of news, especially those who are in the WhatsApp groups. You should have the confirmation of news. Don't just forward the news without confirming it. And involvement of common man. It's common man. Next see. Because unless and until the common man is involved, we cannot solve the society's problem. And the coordination among the various authorities, the cooperation, and above all, the courtesy to all the people who are fighting for the code. Just now, the World Literacy Day was there, International Literacy Day was there. But now, I'm looking forward to the Literacy Day beyond the just reading, writing, or saying something. It's a literacy of the digital world. Now we need a digital literacy. How digitally we can read the things. How can digitally we can write the things. How digitally we can speak the things. Those who are professors here, I'm having experience when I ask in my classroom that how many students has read the newspaper today. Rarely one or two students raise their hand. This is the change. News is must. In my generation, your generation, the newspaper reading is an essential part of our everyday phenomenon. But how we can connect our student to that newspaper reading? Obviously, the digital editions of various newspapers has come. This habit of newspaper reading should not be finished. So how we can motivate them to go to the real news? Because so many expert journalists are preparing those news. Editors are taking care of that news, the content of that news. So when it is coming in that form, how we can attach the students with that news, this is very important. Because this digital literacy through the electronic media is very important. This is a tool. But no doubt, through these tools, the medium of education has to be covered. And we need to understand the objective of digital literacy in terms of the socio-economic media and its impact on the socio-psychological behavior. Because ultimately, the things is being done for the society. This is one of the theme of the conference also. So objective is what? Through any digital literacy, the objective is the communication, observation, and interpretation. I've given you the example of the interpretation, the misinterpretation, understanding, because reading is not important. Understanding is important. Even a very literate person can behave in an irresponsible manner. So understanding is important, and how this understanding is creating change in our behavior, this is important. And how the values, the Indian values can be generated, can be created, can be cultivated, because ultimate aim should be to get the happiness. On the world happiness index, India's position is very poor. In our neighboring country, Bhutan is having a very highest happiness index in Asia. Why? Because we are suffering from such kind of misinterpreted news and misinterpreted informations. Because we should understand that this social media or any electronic media is a bundle of information. But to synthesize that information to knowledge and from knowledge to the wisdom, this is the job of a teacher. And that's why the education institutions are important. But what is the confusion? We go on Google, we search anything, and we find that, okay, this is the information which I've got. And actually, we confuse that with the knowledge. 2 days back, I went to a doctor's clinic. He has written on a board that please don't question mark our dairy through the Google search. Means when they write any medicine, we start searching on the Google and try to find out these things and treat ourselves as a doctor. So please don't question mark on the ability of a doctor. Doctor is a doctor. Teacher is a teacher. So these are just the tools which we should utilize it. And we should not think that I know everything. This is a common syndrome in India. I know. because we are having certain information, uncooked information, incomplete information. So whatever, see, whatever, I'm very much fearful about one of the things which I think all my teachers, friends who are sitting over here, they must have observed, this chatting phenomenon. What is happening? The chatting on the social media, no, it's okay. In between the friends, if you're doing this, okay. But actually, it disturbs your habit of writing. You don't know how to write. You start forgetting how to write the things, how to write in a proper way. So if you have to write right, RIGST, you write R and numeral 8. Okay, in chatting, this may be one of the language. But in one presentation, I went there, I saw all these things on the presentation, PowerPoint presentation. I just interrupted. See, don't do all these things because this will create a different kind of problem for you when you will enter in the corporate world or somewhere else. So such kind of things, we should be very cautious that whatever, you see, the social media, we are fighting with each other, and the biggest Brahmastra in our hand is to block something. This we do. If I'm not agreed with you, I will block you. I will unfriend you. This kind of things are generating a different kind of psychological behavior. We need to understand that format. Even if you see the language of the email, I remember in my days, and those my fellow colleagues are here, they must be knowing. We have been given a proper training how to write a letter, how to start a letter, how to make a body copy, how to end the letter. And same thing, still we are following on the email source. But writing, even not you're saluting someone, just writing few words on email. Initially, we were seeing the language, even some students were coming on the WhatsApp, they were saying, good evening, sir, good evening, ma'am. I'm a student from so-and-so batch. Now, hi, sir. They just mentioned, hi, sir. Who are you? Just please tell me your name, your class. So these kind of behaviors are changing on the social media. We should be very careful about that. But yes, on the same time, the digital media has helped a lot. I will take the example of the Ayurveda. You know, this great science has been developed over a period of time through the Shruti and Smriti, means by hearing and by remembering. And because of lack of documentation, many of the things has been lost. Many of the things has been extinct. Now with this digital media, the documentation, the digital documentation is going on, and this is very helpful. So we have to understand that the verbal and non-verbal dimension of the digital literacy. So problem is not of mind. We Indians are having sufficient, we are genius in that way, but the problem is of the mindset. We have to work on that mindset because the entire journey of learning, there are three phases, we all know: learn, unlearn, and relearn. You have to learn something, but with the changing phase of time, because Charles Darwin said the survival of the fittest, nothing is static, everything is dynamic, everything is changing. So we have to unlearn few things and relearn the new things. So this is what actually we have to understand the difference between the digital literacy and the digital understanding. Because ultimately, the side effect is there, but the positive dimension is also there. And we have to make a fine balance between the quantitative and qualitative dimensions, although the e-governance is picking a best place for that. So digital literacy has given us so many things about that, and so many information is going on. One thing I would like to say, that our focus has been more on the emotional quotient part. It's okay, but at the same time, apart from the intelligence quotient, the social quotient and the adversity quotient is very important. So any kind of digital media we are using, we should understand that in anybody's life, always success is not there. We have to face the failures also, because we teach our students how to get success, how to get success, how to get success, but we never teach how to face the failure. And this is the case why the cases of suicides are increasing. So we need to make them clear that how to face the adversity. That's why the adversity quotient has to be increased. And it's very difficult on the social media dimension, of the digital media dimension. But yes, I would like to quote one sloka about the students. It's an old one, although it's a very tough one. That takati stha bakodhyanam swana nindra tathaivacha alpahari bhetagi Vidyarthi Panchala. Means, education should have an effort, should be similar to a crow. Bakodhyana means consultation with swan. Shwananindra means a lighter sleep like a dog. Alpahari means the lighter eater. And Grihita, less involvement in the human. The problem is that with the student, we teachers has to do the same kind of thing, because we cannot preach the things which we don't practice. Problem is that we don't practice, but we preach the things. In the end, I would have one shloka. Nowadays, so many things are being done on the education front, on the LOCF, learning outcome based curriculum framework, learning outcomes, so many things. But so many thousands years back, there is one shloka which has been mentioned that Sahana avatu, Sahano bhanaktu, Sahaviryam karvam hai, Tejasvina vadhitamastu, ma vedvisha. What is the meaning? In studies, the teacher and the student both have to move together. Together may be to relish our studies. The teacher and the student together may perform our studies with vigor, with deep concentration. What has been studied by us be filled with the brilliance of understanding, leading to knowledge and wisdom, might not give rise to hostility due to lack of understanding. So when you use the digital media, when you use the electronic media, when you use the social media in education, we need to understand that with the basic concept that what about the basic purpose of education is to asto ma sadagamay, tamso ma jyotirgamay, mrityor ma mritangamay. Lead us from the unreal to real, lead us from the darkness to light, and lead us from the death to eternal life. Thank you very much for giving me this precious time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Ram Kumar Singh, for your extremely informative discussion, because while the other three keynote speakers, they talked about the important areas that have come into being today. You have actually pointed out that although these are very important areas like electronic media, artificial intelligence, they can create a lot of good to us, but at the same time, there is the darker side of it, which is what is actually happening. That is, access to digitization is often dehumanizing the people. Social media, you said, is most unsocial because we are not using it in the right way. So everywhere, be it as a journalist, official, be it as a teacher, be it as a student, it is very important that the human aspect is lived and experienced. And it is that the national education policy is also highlighting. And you aptly remarked that this can show us the way forward. So thank you to all the keynote speakers. In fact, everyone showed very important aspects of the entire, thematic of the conference, that is literature, society, and global media, while Dr. Yulia talked about how electronic media is becoming so powerful. We have our speaker, Vinay Singh ji, who talked about how literature can unite the minds and the goal of humanity and help us to do common good. We have Dr. Suresh Chandra Nayak ji, who talked about how media should inform, educate, entertain, but do not forget that it should be credible and should not sell disinformation. We have our last speaker, Professor Raj Kumar Singh, who highlighted many of the odd things and the things that are not at all appreciated, that we should get rid of it and be a global and correct citizen of the world. Thank you so much for all your wise words. I hope that have set the right tone to the entire conference. Thank you. Dr. Patel. Requesting the organizer to take over. So with that, we are coming to the end of the inaugural session. Thanks a lot. Particularly, I request all of you to be present there for the next presentation session. We will be starting with the presentation session 1 at 1:30. Dr. Patel? I think we'll be starting at 1:30. So request you to all join by that time. Thank you so much.